Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the third episode of Hot Fix, featuring myself and Ben and Greg. How are you guys doing today?
Just fine. How are you?
I agree.
Well,
just fine.
Everybody's just fine. I'm doing pretty alright. I guess that makes me doing better than fine. I don't know, though.
It's a Monday. I'm never fine on Mondays.
That's fair. Well, that's why we're doing this on Monday night. It's to boost our spirits. So, I do want to take this moment briefly to mention that we now have a fourth member on the Hotfix crew. He's not in our podcast per se, but Patrick Dugan is going to be doing all of the editing for Hotfix from here on out.
Pat's doing it?
Nice.
A better edited project at the end of the day. So thank you, Pat, when you listen to this in your editing.
Thanks,
Thank you, Pat.
He may be on at some point as a guest, but for now, he's doing the behind-the-scenes work and Lord's work. Hotfix now also has a service cost on our end. Not for anybody listening.
What?
We now have to start paying to actually host Hotfix. So we're like a real thing now. Money is being exchanged.
That's terrible?
That's when you know, I don't know if that's a good thing.
We've hit the big time, guys. I'm going to put this on my tax returns and see.
So hitting the big time means that we have to pay money.
It means the government fucks us, yes.
Wow, great.
That is the government's not actually who we're paying. We're just paying SoundCloud, but we can pretend it's the government.
Yeah,
it's
that's
basically the government.
lovely.
All right, let's hop right into it. What are you guys playing this week?
Oh, boy. What are you playing, Ben?
Overwatch. I'm hating myself for it every day.
That is exactly where I'm at. God damn, this game is crept back into my life, and I don't know how I feel about it.
It's got
I've been having a good time, personally.
I haven't been having a bad time, per se, but I don't know.
We're climbing the ranks, man. We're all going to hit diamond this season.
I mean, that's if we get matchups that allow me to climb above 3,400.
Yeah.
2,400, I'm sorry, which it has not let me do yet for more than like
Vitor can climb like 250 in a day, we can definitely...
Yeah, alright, so can we talk about how I'm like a little bit embarrassed that he outranked me in less than 20 hours?
It's just because he's better than you, it's alright.
Obviously he's better than me.
I just think that the only sad thing about playing that game was when I got ranked and I realized I couldn't play with you guys because I ranked too much, and I was like, having fun.
You couldn't play with us because Vitor was too low, but now he is higher than half the team, so
now we can six stack again.
Vitor is actually so much fun.
He is officially higher ranked than both Mark and Ben now. So if we can't play with somebody, it's not his fault.
It'll be Mark's fault first, and then it'll be mine.
But no, the six stack's a lot of fun. I hope we can keep doing that now that we have the whole team together. We're all going to climb to Master together.
I could see that.
But first Diamond. So me and Austin are like close-ish, and Mark and Ben will get you guys there, one step at a time.
And then we'll just take over Boston Uprising.
That is the eventual goal, yes.
Yes.
Although I've been second guessing how well that plan's going to work after what happened last night.
Yeah, alright. Fair.
We got fucking trounced in a couple of rounds last night.
Like
so,
three.
Really just like terribly, terribly killed.
Yeah, like just made everyone upset or angry or both. It's a bad time.
Yeah, it was a bummer.
I mean, it wasn't really even enough time to get angry. It was just over.
I was enraged at how quick the matches went. I was like, wow, I was robbed of all of my SR now in like 10 minutes.
I wasn't even angry about it. It was like fucking comical.
Are you still Diamond?
Yeah, I'm like 32 something.
Yeah, alright.
I honestly don't care what my rank is anymore, because like if I'm just playing with you guys and we're just like trying to rank you guys up, then it doesn't really matter. Diamond is Diamond, and Masters is Masters. It's like, whatever at that point.
That's fair. I only care because I'm like, I know I could get to Diamond.
You totally can. You're like really close.
Like, I'm like, I'm more than halfway there, and I just really want to capitalize.
I'd just be satisfied to hit Platinum again. It's been a long time.
We'll get you there. You're close, aren't you? Like near 24 where you were.
Yeah, I am 2393, I believe.
Yeah. If we go on like a winning streak of like 4 or 5 games, you'll be in Platinum. Like, we don't even need to kick that much ass.
Yeah, I need to win like 4 games roughly.
Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tonight even.
Probably not.
One of the two. We will do that.
I don't know that I'm down to play tonight.
Well, we'll see. That seems like a lack of commitment. But,
yeah, well.
Has anyone played anything else, or is all the time been going to Overwatch?
I was playing Resident Evil 7 again with my good friend Rachel because she wanted to play like some scary games this weekend. So we played through the first like 2 hours of that, which is it's I noticed something about like not playing horror games. I actually find like watching someone else play a horror game like kind of scarier because you don't have any control over the players like over the actions that like the other person's performing. So like if you want to look left or you want to look right when you go down a hallway and the other person isn't like doing it as you would, you know what I mean? Like it kind of puts you on edge even more because you don't have that like that agency or that ability to control a situation. So I was actually on edge for a lot of that game. Even though I know how it plays out, I still found myself kind of being freaked out because I didn't have control over what was going on, and I think that's what just kind of made it worse for me.
No, that's definitely neat. The only horror game I've ever watched anybody play was Ben playing through Until Dawn, which was great. That was a great experience.
So good.
Well, honestly, I mean, especially since we started it at what, like 11 o'clock at night and finished at like 6
a.m.
Fun,
here's a fun, I don't know, gaming hack for anybody who might want to play Until Dawn. Start it at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night and do it in one go. Because you will play the game in real time with the narrative. So when the sun comes up at the end of the game, the sun will be rising in real life, and it's great.
So that is really neat.
Yeah, it was good.
I found that out by mistake when I did it the first time. Yeah, it was
awesome. I killed a lot of people by mistake when I played that game.
Yeah, you had like 5 people, right, until the last 10 minutes?
Yeah, until the last like 3 minutes, really.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
And I made one decision, and 3 of them died. It was like, well, that was bad.
See, all my guys died before. I finished with only 1, but I fucked up. I was just adhering to the final girl trope. Maybe I did it on purpose. The horror buff in me couldn't allow more than just her to get out. We're gonna say that's what happened there.
That's what happened.
I
bet. I don't know. I've been playing some Mario and Rabbids, which is a good time. Yeah. I've been digging it. I'm on World 4 now, so I'm almost done with it.
Nice.
I officially decided I no longer give a fuck about perfecting every level, so the last few have been a lot more entertaining and less frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, but, I was like that with Metal Gear 5, where I tried to get like the highest ranking possible on each mission, and I wouldn't like go past. That made the game so unenjoyable. Like I tried to get the highest ranking for each like level, and I wouldn't go past each level until I got the highest ranking. Like just play the game. I've realized that now. Just same with racing games too. I always wanted to like get 3 gold stars or like the max amount of stars per like story or campaign. Yeah. And I was like, this is not fun. But then I started just playing it just to play it, and I was like, this is how I should play these games. Otherwise, I'll never get anything done, and I won't enjoy it.
No, for sure. Mario & Rabbids kind of has you by the balls to do it for a while, because so they give you a bunch of like better guns, but you need to pay for them with coins, and the only reliable way to get a lot of coins is to perfect all the levels.
It's like Drive Club then. You need stars to unlock more races, and I got you.
And it gets you by the balls, because if you don't have the better weapons, you're just straight up fucked for the later levels. Because they increase damage. It's not like stat boost. It's like literally damage. But I'm far enough in the game now, and I have enough shit where I don't really need to do that anymore, which has made the last couple better.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah, good game, though. Top tier. If it was on PS4, I'd probably still perfect it for the trophy, but it's not, and Switch doesn't have trophies, so dope.
Thank God.
Never been happier for a game not to have trophies.
Yeah, man.
Perfect.
But awesome. So, let's hop into news. We actually have a fair bit of news today. Some of it big deal, some of it just kind of small stuff. But the first thing up on our list, and this is a pretty one-off thing, there is possibly a new Alien game in development at Cold Iron Studios. I've never heard of Cold Iron Studios, but they are apparently making an Alien game. They have previously worked on not much, but the team includes people who worked on Bioshock Infinite, Metroid Prime 3, Neverwinter, and City of Heroes.
All right.
Okay, there's some good ones in that mix.
Yeah, so that could be neat.
Right.
The franchise is kind of at an all-time low, so it'd be hard to do any worse than the films.
Fair.
But it's coming to PC and consoles eventually. All we know is that it's happening. But that could be neat.
This one will have aliens in it and not focus on AI.
Yes. Thank Christ.
Perfect.
Ridley Scott is not involved, as far as we know. The last Alien game was fun. Alien Isolation was a good time.
Creative Assembly. I wonder what they're doing, because I really liked Isolation.
Yeah, Isolation was dope. So maybe we'll get another good Alien game.
Hopefully.
Up next, reportedly, a new Fable game is in development at Playground Games. This franchise has been at a standstill for a while, so it's neat that it might be coming back, although development is in, quote, early days, if this report is to be believed. Playground Games is also the studio behind the Forza Horizon series, so that is an interesting change in pace for them.
It's a racing game with Fable characters. Holy shit.
Would that be better or worse than not having a Fable game at all?
Better. It could be like the next Crash Team Racing, but with Fable characters.
Oh, boy.
Well, apparently Microsoft's decision to bring back Fable was influenced by the success of none other than Horizon Zero Dawn, which doesn't surprise me even a little.
Yeah.
That surprised me.
Yeah, so maybe we'll see a new Fable game on Xbox, which is going to tie into some later news stories that we'll get to. Up next, this was from a week and a half ago. Nintendo announced the Labo Build-It-Yourself kit. Have you guys seen this thing?
Yes!
I didn't look much into it, but I did see something about it. Yeah.
It's literally a line of Build-It-Yourself cardboard toys where, like, you buy the cardboard that's, like, it's, like, kind of, like, serrated. Mm-hmm. And then you follow the instructions to build shit out of it that, like, the Switch and controllers fit into.
What?
So, like, right now, there's, like, a couple big ones. One of them is, like, a robot backpack.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
One of them is, like, a fishing rod. There's one that's, like, a piano. And it, like, kind of hooks up so, you play the keys on it.
It's so funny.
What?
Yeah, and, like, the controllers and stuff fit into different parts of this. So, like, they're functional for being cardboard. They're not cheap, mind you, like the variety kit, which is, I think, like, it looks like, 2 RC cars, a fishing rod, a house, a motorbike, and a piano, which is a fair bit of stuff, but it's $70.
Yeah.
But you know how much that stuff costs in real life? More than $70.
I suppose so, yes. If you were to go buy legitimate RC cars, fishing rods, houses, and motorbikes.
I'm just saying, it's a good deal.
You're not wrong. But it seems cool.
Yeah, I guess you're not technically wrong.
Yeah, it seems cool. Like, for the motorbike one, like, you put the Joy-Cons, like, in the handle so it can tell when you're, like, revving them and stuff.
That's so funny.
But, yeah, it's cool for kids. It's 100% aimed exclusively at, a younger audience.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be adults losing their minds over
absolutely.
It. Yeah.
But it is really cool as a kid thing. Like, I could see kids being really into this. I would have been pretty into this as a kid. Like, it's cool. It's neat.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Greg actually pre-ordered every kit last week. He's getting the whole shebang.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be collecting Nintendo Labo kits to go next to the Amiibos.
Oh, jeez.
Is it Labo? That has to be how you say this, right?
Labo.
It's Labo.
Labo.
Is it Labo?
I don't know.
Labo? I don't know. It's coming out on 420. That's kind of funny.
Oh my god, because of course.
Speaking of 420, look at this segue. We have another thing coming out on 420, God of War.
Oh, yeah!
Officially coming out on April 20th. New story trailer did absolutely nothing to change my opinion on the game, but it's coming out. It exists.
Well, I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to be bad. That's important, I feel like, to mention. Like, I do want to enjoy it, but I don't know. The trailer they put out, the story of, like, Kratos' kid not knowing that Kratos is a god, and that revelation tearing their family apart, like, does not sound interesting to me at all. It sounds kind of contrived and stupid. But
well, I hope it's
we'll
more than just that, but you never know.
Yeah, time will tell. But it's cool that it's finally coming out. I'm wondering if we're going to get much more gameplay beforehand, or if they're just going to be like, here, go, play it.
Right,
Because we haven't really seen much gameplay from it. We've only seen, like, the 1 or 2 demos, and that's it. There hasn't been, like, here's 15 minutes of gameplay.
Maybe in March they'll, like, have something substantial like that.
Yeah, it'll have to be just dropped randomly. I don't think there's any conventions between now and then, so they'll just have to put it out on their own. But that is on the way. Up next, in its first week, Overwatch League reached 10 million viewers. That is separate fans. That's not like a concurrent thing. The peak, I think, is still around about 500,000. Looks like 437,000 people tuned in for the first game versus Dallas and Seoul.
Damn.
Which Seoul won. Viewership since then, I believe, has settled at an average of about 100,000 a day. I could be wrong on that, but I remember seeing that somewhere earlier in the week. So not
Okay.
bad.
Mhm.
You know,
I
not
believe it.
great, but not bad numbers for something that started 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, seriously. Good for
Um,
them.
opening week, it was about 250,000 each day, so it's definitely dropped. But I think the 100,000 that's watching is pretty consistently watching. I've been watching.
Yeah, no, me
So
too.
I'm among
This
those
shit's been great.
100,000. Boston's on their way up.
They
They're going all
are.
the way.
Yeah. The only one I saw was when they were playing Seoul and got handily beaten.
Oh yeah, they got fucked in that
Oh,
game.
yeah,
they got
they
fucked really hard in that game. Did they take any matches out of that? No, they got swept, didn't they?
No, yeah,
They did get
complete
swept.
sweep.
Oh, it's like Shanghai took a match from Seoul, which was honestly more surprising. So that's that. Overwatch League still popular, still very much going, which is cool. Hopefully it keeps up. Up next, there was a new Tomb Raider trailer for the movie. That's related enough where I'm going to consider it news for this podcast.
I forgot about that being a thing.
Did you guys watch that trailer by chance?
I don't
No.
think so. No.
So it is literally just the game, like the remake from a couple years back.
Like the first one.
Like yeah,
Right.
the one from
Ah.
like 2013 or whatever.
It's that.
Mhm.
It's that, which like honestly I'm about. Like
No.
they pulled some of the set pieces like straight up out of the game, like the plane over the waterfall and shit.
I mean, that's cool. I just didn't like the characters as story. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not going to go see the Tomb Raider movie for a narrative or the characters. I'm going to go see the Tomb Raider movie because one, Alicia Vikander's in it, and two, the action set pieces. So if those two things deliver, I'm
Right.
fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
But they are very much going into the whole Trinity story that the games are, and it seems very similar to the game. Looks cool though. I'm very much interested. The action seems cool. There seems to be some cool stuff with her and the bow and arrow, and she has the same pickaxe and everything, which is neat. Could be
Alright.
good.
Cool,
Could be
cool.
good. First
Could
good
be.
game movie, still maybe ever.
We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe it comes out in March. That's not great, but
Lots coming out in March.
yeah, Pacific Rim 2 is also coming out in March, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot coming out.
So we'll see. Up
Mhm.
next, this one is interesting because I don't think this has ever been done before. Paragon is closing in
Ooh.
April, officially shutting down servers and everything. Game is going to cease to exist come April. The devs are instead going to go focus on Fortnite because it's the same team.
Okay.
That's doing better though.
Presumably they're going to focus on Fortnite. They haven't said, but there's no reason they wouldn't because Fortnite is getting crazy popular.
Yeah, really. Like
So
Twitch especially, man.
yeah, it's picking up a lot of steam. The closing of Paragon, I'm sure people who played is a bummer. I don't think many people are, which is probably why this is happening.
Yeah.
But the real interesting part of this story is that they decided that they are offering full refunds to anyone who purchased the game or anything in it, ever.
Oh.
Wow.
So if you bought that game 2 years ago, you still get your full refund. It doesn't matter how much you played it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they are going to lose a shit ton of money, and this, I don't think any developer or publisher has ever been like, here's all your money back.
Yeah, seriously.
So good on them. That's awesome. I hope that it works out and that the people who are working on Paragon end up working on Fortnite or at least another game at the studio. But that sets an interesting precedent for other online games as servers close down, which I feel like is going to become more common as so many of these games are coming out. Whether other publishers decide to continue this trend or if this is just a one-off, good on you, and everybody else is going to say fuck you kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's Paragon. Up next is a story that up until this morning didn't actually have closure. So Rainbow Six Siege has been getting more and more popular as time has gone on since its release. I believe we're 3 years out now. So Ubisoft decided last week to do the most sensible thing, which is starting in February, they're going to raise the price of the game
What?
from $40 to $60, and that $60 edition was going to come with everything the old one used to, but also include a whole bunch of credits and new in-game currency that they're adding because microtransactions are everywhere now. So you get more stuff than you used to, but they're also raising the entry point of the game from $40 to $60. There's also was going to be one that was going to jump from 70 to 90, and one that was going to jump from 110 to 130.
Jeez.
These all came with a variety of different
gosh.
things. A lot of people who are already playing the game were pretty pissed because it was giving people who just hopped in shit that they weren't getting, mainly like that microtransaction currency.
Sounds like Destiny.
Like Destiny. A lot of people that
Sounds
were
like
going to buy the
Destiny.
game were pretty pissed because they were like, this game's 3 years old. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
That's insane.
So this happened on Friday. To Ubisoft's credit, this morning they responded So it only took them the weekend, and they said they are not doing this shit anymore.
Good.
They are cutting the standard edition back down to 40. They haven't given specific information about everything, but they're not doing the price hike anymore. So good on Ubisoft for actually listening to people and not just doing it anyway.
It's impressive.
Rainbow Six has been an interesting game because everybody hated it when it came out, and it's kind of had a good turnaround, so it'd be a shame if this ruined it.
Yeah, seriously.
So good on them for not doing that.
That
Up
game is
next.
so surprising.
Yeah, I never actually played it myself, but I hear it's good from people who do.
Yeah, no, it's a fun time, but just did not expect it to have the impact that it has now. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
But awesome. Up next, there's a quickie. Monster Hunter Worlds reportedly shipped 5 million copies last week between physical and digital. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. Fucking good.
It's only on one console at this point.
Yeah, it's doing very well. It's a lot of people's first Monster Hunter as well. And they're really doing everything right with this one. From what I understand, all the design decisions they made seem to make the game more accessible without losing the depth. I definitely got that from the beta. And also they're doing a lot of cross promotions. The Horizon stuff, for example, and I think they're doing something with Street Fighter.
Ooh.
So they're doing a lot of good, interesting cross promotions. So that's going well. That seems to be the game to play at this point in time.
Go play it.
And apparently it's actually drawing people off of Destiny 2, which is not something I expected.
Really?
Are you serious?
I am, because it's a very similar game in terms of grind to get loot to grind to get loot. And I guess a bunch of Destiny players have been like, this is a better way to do that.
Oh, it is such a better grind. It actually makes sense. That's amazing. It's such a different kind of experience. You're going from a first-person shooter sci-fi game to a fucking third-person action RPG. That's insane. I mean, it's wonderful that it's taking players away and actually giving them a better way to grind for meaningful content. Gear and armor. Just that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This isn't a game I expected to do that. The thought of Destiny being compared to this didn't even cross my mind.
No, exactly. Completely different.
Yeah, I get it, though. It makes sense. It's the same kind of gameplay loop. So that's that. Up next, Norman Reedus got caught talking about Death Stranding in a podcast.
Oh, boy.
Specifically, this is interesting, specifically doing an interview on the B&H Photography podcast.
What?
I have no fucking idea why he was on that podcast.
That is so weird.
But he talked about the game in really vague terms for a while. The only thing that's really notable in this is that he did say, let me find the exact quote here. Sorry, skimming through this. Quote, "It's so ahead of its time, and there's elements of social media in it."
Yeah.
What?
That's what people keep saying. It's like, oh, your friends die, or you see your friends in the game world and they could die. It somehow uses either your Facebook or other social media to work its way into the narrative or into some of the side missions or something. It's weird. Really weird. You know how Last of Us multiplayer, you could connect to Facebook?
Yeah.
Think of that, but it actually playing a larger role in maybe a narrative sense.
That could be cool. I don't know what the fuck
weird.
This game is going to be, but that's a cool idea.
So weird. Erik, you're just a side character. Some people kind of like you, others don't. Yeah.
I mean, usually. What's the? Are you talking about real life, or are you talking about?
No.
But no, it could be neat. The rest of that quote is, so many games and so many parts of millennial culture are being alone in a room and you lose physical contact with people. This is after that and the reestablishing of that physical contact. It's super, super interesting.
Wow.
I don't know what the fuck this game is. I'm convinced nobody outside of Kojima fully knows what this game is. I don't even think Norman Reedus really knows.
Probably not.
What this game is.
It's a fun thing to do.
But that's
paying my bills.
Apparently a thing. We have to hear about this game at E3 again.
Oh, for sure.
When did that last trippy 7-minute trailer come out? What convention was that?
Game Awards?
Was it? That was the Game Awards. You're right.
Yeah. Dave Keighley's here's my new shit because Hideo's my best friend, and they played that fun take thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a Game Awards. I think last year. Was it last E3 when they put out the trailer with Guillermo del Toro and Mads Mikkelsen, or was that 2016?
I don't remember.
Was that last year?
That might have been
Oh,
2016.
I think it's 2016 because this, like past year, I thought was the one take thing, and then
You mean all of them? Which one take thing are you?
well, the one where they have like that like arm thing on their backs.
That was the one
Either
from
that
Game
was,
Awards.
Yeah, Games Award or Paris Week. I think it was Game Awards, but I think that was I think 2016.
Oh yeah, the Mads Mikkelsen one, it looks like was 2016.
Wow,
it also
Okay.
specifically looks like the Game Awards 2016. It wasn't even E3.
Yeah,
So the
okay.
only trailer we've actually ever gotten from E3 was the original reveal. So maybe we won't get anything at E3 this year from it.
Yeah, we got the whale one.
Yeah, the whale one. Oh yeah, the
No,
original
sorry.
one. Yeah.
The one with all the dead carcasses.
Yeah,
and
no, I
shit.
know what you're talking about.
I just remember the whales specifically because they're big.
Yeah, that'd do it. But yeah, maybe we'll see more about this game. Who is to know? Up next, this isn't so much a news story as much as it's a thing that happened. A game called Celeste came out last week.
Yeah.
It's the guy who did Towerfall Ascension. I hadn't even heard of this, but it's getting all kinds of praise. IGN gave it a perfect 10.
Wow.
Among basically every other review site who, if not giving it a 10, has been giving it like stupidly high marks.
Yeah, the Metacritic score is like 94.
Yeah, it's like really dumb high, so like something to keep an eye out for. Apparently it's a stupidly difficult platformer that hinges around like a dash mechanic with a narrative that's surprisingly deep, which not what I would ever expect from a platformer.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Interesting.
yeah, so that's a game. I guess be on the lookout for it. It getting so much buzz coming out of nowhere is why I thought that might be worth mentioning.
I added it to my
maybe.
list.
Yeah, because I haven't even heard the name prior to that review coming out.
I'm not the biggest fan of platformers, but I might have to check it out.
I think I sent you a trailer for it earlier. I think
You did. I was looking at it.
or
It
I sent
looks
you IGN's
like I would
review,
have a hard time because I'm not good at platforming.
Yeah, it looks brutal. It really does. But there's an easy mode if you require.
Oh, is there? Perfect.
There is.
Oh, is there?
All right, and that brings us to our last two stories of the day, and these are interconnected and also pretty large. Xbox a while back, like last year, announced this thing called Game Pass. And this was last like E3. It launched like last May. It's been around for a while. Basically, what it was a $10 a month subscription service, Netflix style, and you could play a whole bunch of games in the service as much as you want whenever. It's just that monthly fee to play them all. Up until recently, it's pretty much consisted of like a bunch of indies, some backwards compatible games, but a really good list of stuff. Like super worthwhile for the $10 that it would cost you to get. Like just at a glance here, like on Xbox One, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, Devil May Cry Definitive Edition, Gears of War Ultimate, Halo 5, Mad Max, Mega Man Legacy, Ollie Ollie, Payday 2, Saints Row 4, Sunset Overdrive. So basically, it's $10 and you could play all of these at once.
Yeah, like a bunch of stuff.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how much has helped Xbox's player base. The reason it's being mentioned today is because they announced news that like could honestly be game changing for the entire industry, which is that starting now, any Xbox One game, exclusive first party game, is going to be released same day on Game Pass. This specifically includes their main examples right now are State of Decay, Sea of Thieves, and Crackdown 3.
Damn.
So $10 a month, you could play their first party games the day they come out. You're spending $120 a year to play basically every major first party Microsoft release. In addition to all of the other indies and smaller games on there, plus the backlog of all the shit that's already there.
I mean, 120
games.
bucks. That's like That's like 2 games.
Yeah,
that's the price of 2 games. That's crazy.
It's kind of nutty, and it begs the question of like if this is going to be a price model we see in the future.
Yeah.
If you know this generation is over for Microsoft, let's be real. But you know, next generation's probably coming in a year or two, realistically. So does next generation, if Microsoft keeps something like this going, does Sony have to conform and do something similar?
I guess we'll see.
They're not going to now. They're doing too well. But if one company starts this, I can very easily see it changing. And the numbers make sense for the companies to do it this way. I am a fan, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, the only thing is like, why wouldn't you do this? So I understand like who wouldn't do this
from like a marketing perspective.
I just from like, why wouldn't you sign up for this in the first place? Because it seems like it's too good of a deal
Oh, exactly.
You know,
and it's
like-
totally
like-
this has been happening for like 8 months now. Like it works as advertised.
Wow.
I'm much like I might get an Xbox One at some point in the next year if I can get every game I want for $120.
Sure. Yeah. I'll sell you mine.
But yeah,
Maybe
it's
Switch.
interesting for the future to see what comes of it. The big thing I think with it is going to be if they can start locking in major third-party releases day of as well.
Right.
Which I guess we'll see probably at E3 if they're going to do it. And honestly, new Tomb Raider would be a good starting point.
It would be pretty
Microsoft has
nasty.
had exclusive or timed exclusives on those games
It's true.
the last 2 times, so saying they had the new one for the $10 a month subscription would be pretty
Forget it.
big.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
And tying into that, on the topic of Microsoft maybe starting to perform a turnaround for next gen, current rumors are going around that Microsoft has considered and is actively looking into acquiring EA, Valve, and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds Corp.
Whoa.
Wow.
Player unknowns. That would be huge for them. Maybe like Minecraft all over again.
Well, PlayerUnknown is already like there's some groundwork set with that with the exclusive deal to put it on Xbox One right now.
Yeah.
That already exists. Valve is probably a hard sell, but even EA, like all the games that EA publishes, if Microsoft owned that, that'd be fucking huge.
EA.
So that'd be something, and it would like fundamentally change the entire division of console loyalty here. Like if
Yeah.
PlayStation doesn't have any EA games, that's fucking game changing.
Especially like the FIFAs and basically the sports games, because there are millions upon millions of people.
The sports
play those
games,
games.
or even just like look at Battlefront 2, which despite its controversy, sold a shit ton.
It did.
And yeah, like I don't know, this is huge if it happens. So I'm sure there's still a bit of ways to go, but the fact that reports are
Yeah.
coming out of it means they've clearly been discussing. Apparently, Microsoft is in the middle of internal shifts that are making it look like they're getting ready for an acquisition.
Shit.
Um,
I mean, they have enough money to throw around that they could easily do it
yeah,
if they wanted to. Yeah.
and that's potentially big. So we'll see.
Sheesh.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the end of my news here. The biggest stories are definitely the Xbox related ones because those
Seriously.
potentially have some long lasting ramifications.
Well, I
Mhm.
wonder if like they do acquire EA, if they'll still do the whole like Xbox and Windows 10 program, or the whole Windows. You know how like they keep doing Xbox and Windows 10 releases. So I wonder if like it'll be a PC Xbox thing. So if you have a PC, I guess you could possibly get out of getting an Xbox or whatever.
Yeah,
But
I think they
I don't
keep
know.
it that way. I think at this point they've kind of decided that like PC is fine if you want to do that. Here's Xboxes if you don't. Just don't buy a PlayStation.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what it's come across to me as.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Play
So-
your games on everything else except for PlayStation.
Yeah, and there can be a turnaround next gen whenever that may happen. Either this year or next year, I think we're seeing new consoles at E3.
Really?
Probably next year. Next year for
Yeah,
a release
next year.
of 2019 holiday. I think next
Yeah.
Christmas is going to be new consoles.
That's all, I guess.
'Cause these are getting old. These came out
they
in
are.
2013.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Generations
They're kinda
don't tend to
showing
be
it.
that long, and the last one was only so long because of the Depression.
Mhm.
So we'll see. We'll
Damn.
see.
Indeed, we will.
Times are changing.
But that brings us to our topic of the day, which, as per last week, or 2 weeks ago, whenever, was going to be about our unpopular game opinions.